Good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where in the world you're joining us from. We are going to get started in just 1 minute, and great to have you all here. In the meantime, just some housekeeping matters. You are in a webinar session, but we want it to be interactive as well. There are going to be opportunities for you to engage with our facilitator this evening. So don't hold your questions. You can put your questions in the Q&A or in the chat. I will be feeding those questions to Mr. Griffith once he makes it over to our side of the stage, but he should be with us in just a moment. Oh, there he is. Hi, Andre.
Hi, everyone.
So again, good evening. I'm Sonia Mahan, and I'm going to be moderating today's session, which means I just keep the conversation going, Andre, having the liaison between you and the participants, and we get the conversation going around cybersecurity. Before we begin, let me introduce you to the participants. And again, just let me say on the onset, thank you for taking part of your day, whether it's at the end of the day, the middle of your day, depending on where you're joining, it might even be somewhere in the morning where you are. But thank you for taking the time to engage with us here at the Sagicor Cahill School of Business and Management about this exciting offering that we have coming up in just a couple of weeks already. So, our facilitator for this program is Mr. Andre Griffith, and he is a seasoned IT leader, leveraging over 2 decades of expertise which to drive innovation and yield substantial returns in business units, specializing in IT best practice frameworks and cyber resilience strategies. He currently serves as a lead cybersecurity tutor, not only for us, but also and teaching assistant, not only for us here at the Sagicor Cahill School of Business and Management, but for North American cybersecurity training companies, including Correlation One and US Help Desk, whose clientele spans US local governments and Fortune 500 giants. You may have heard of a few of them: Walmart, Citibank, and Amazon. As a, do I hesitate to say even downtime here, Andre? As a consulting partner at Arc Online Enterprises Corp., which is a prominent IT consultancy firm here in Barbados, he spearheads the unit dealing with cybersecurity advisory and management services, mobile app development, and digital transformation consultancy, leveraging the experience he would have gained as a cybersecurity consultant working in both government and financial sectors. Notably, Arcline Online Enterprises Corp. Also serves as a technology partner for some of the world's foremost cybersecurity solutions. So you can see why we have continued to search around the world for the very best to facilitate and deliver the programming that we offer for their personal and professional development here at the school. And it's always great when we find that expertise in an alumnus, which he is of the UWE Cave campus, as well as the University of North London. He was a recipient of the prestigious British Chevening Scholarship, and he earned his MSc in Business Information Technology with merit from the University of Westminster. Professionally, he is actively involved in various industry organizations, holding memberships in BIPA, Barbados ICT Professionals, ISA, which is the Information Systems Security Association, the Barbados chapter, the Cybersecurity Leadership Institute, ISC2, as well as the International Information Systems Security Certification Consortium and the British Computer Society. Yes, he does sleep. So, Andre, I
Hmm.
am turning it over to you. Remember, participants, please don't hesitate. If you have questions, drop them in the chat or the Q&A so that we can get those answered before the session is finished. And we are going to finish in about 45, 50 minutes. And special offers, if you stay until the end, we have very special offer for you. Over to you, Andre.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonia and the team at the UEK Phil School of Business. Very exciting time. I mean, if there wasn't an exciting time as before, this is the exciting time. Not just saying it for saying it. Say it. Last year was a blast. Every year is much better. And as I bring on world leaders, last year we had one of the directors of the International Security Consortium, which is the highest standard of cybersecurity award in the world, is a Bayesian. And we had her on one of our classes. We had a leader of of, of major companies, cybersecurity like Nike and 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 also the famous auction site, eBay, responsible for the entire European and the African European market. He was on here, and then we also had a CISO from North America. So this year I have a few more guest lectures. So this is not just yes learning cybersecurity, but you're gonna see from people from the Caribbean who are doing stuff all over the world. So hopefully this year I will get some new persons who will also be guest lecturers. I love to do that. So yes, it's me. Call me Coach Andre. Don't need to be too formal. And the accolades were started earlier. Hope you can see my slide. But this is about cybersecurity here to zero. One thing that was missed out. I just completed a master's, got a distinction in cybersecurity and forensics here in the UK. This is where I'm kind of have my crib at the moment. But yes, over 20 years in IT consultant, pivoted the last 10 years into cybersecurity. Very excited because one thing about the cybersecurity discipline, it has been well thought, well researched. And it has hitting so many areas in the whole diaspora of digital transformation and many people are thinking about today. So indeed, I have worked with a lot of amazing companies, data responsible, especially within Barbados. You can see some of the brands there, from energy to sports to pharmaceuticals. And so that's where my career really started. So I just want to say cybersecurity is everyone's job. So this program is not just for those who want to get into a job doing 24/7 boring stock analysis that I may do. But there's a great need for data protection officers, for privacy specialists, data privacy specialists. There's a lot of talk going on within the Caribbean, within Barbados, and this will gear you guys for the future. And everyone, in my opinion, need to know something about cybersecurity. So yes, it takes you from zero, but you can be a hero if you want to go straight in this career. People have graduated from this class and have achieved the highest cybersecurity accolades in the industry. They went on to work, get promotions in their job, and some of them are even leading their cybersecurity teams. So I'm just stating the caliber of people that come through. Some are lawyers, some are um, persons with normal day jobs. They find the information very useful. So it's not what to expect in this area is not just um, skills. Yes, you're gonna learn that, but it's gonna be on the base level. So what we do in this program is that we have a dual certifications at the end of this program. And I want to just highlight what this dual certification is all about. So first things first, we set the foundation. I just take the word foundation. For everyone, we're going to do this particular curriculum, the CC from the ISC2 people, certified in cybersecurity. This is your foundation. We get this off quickly within 4 to 6 weeks, to be honest, of the course. And then the remainder of the course we spent on doing this certification. This is your hero certification, Security Plus, well deserved. Can't tell you, amazing provider of um, information technology skills, whether it's data science, whether it's cloud, whether it's AI. They're amazing, and for years they are the ones that doesn't stick with a particular provider. They're an agnostic. So if you learn their cloud certification, you learn everything. So Security Plus, you learn everything. Now we learn, so it's like you learn quite a bit, but the about inch of pizza size, not too big, but you learn enough to build your career. And that's what we want to take you from zero to hero. That's the main goal. So in the middle of the program, you will already get a certification. Is that the certification is included in this course. I guide you through how to get the certification. There's no cost. It is a real professional certification, and everyone should get it. You don't have to have any experience prior. And then at the end of the course, we are giving you also a free exam voucher to do this certification. This is the first time you're ever doing this. So because we want people to come out with a certain standard. This program is for everyone. So you should really make sure that you finish the program and you finish it and you do your certificate. Now, some people say, you know what, I don't want to fail the exam. Hey, but you have a double take voucher. So if you do the, I'm going to tell you guys, you got to do this exam at the end of the course. If you do the exam at any course and you don't get through, you got another time to retake. How beautiful is that, all right? And I guarantee you, if you follow what I instruct you to do, in fact you do all the quizzes, there's no way, and you pass and you get your 80 to 90% range. There's no way that you're gonna fail that exam. No way. So please don't get nervous. But this is a professional exam. It's accredited all over the world, all over Japan, whatever, Australia, Africa, here in the Caribbean, here in North America. Everyone knows about Security Plus. Everyone. I will prove it to you during the course, of course. Maybe look at professional, because there's one aspect of the course that I like to do at the end is to how to promote your identity and what with respect to what you've learned, how to go for jobs, etc. So, what is the final analysis? CompTIA plus SY0701. This is the curriculum we'll be using for this course. The foundation that we'll be setting with ISC square CC leads into this, okay? So this is how we want to get people from zero to hero, right? This is the hero part. And we're gonna go, this program was launched since 2023. This is a fairly up-to-date program with all that is going on in cybersecurity. It will revise again. Usually this program revises every 3 to 4 years. So I believe there's going to be another revision by the end of the year next year. But we're still on this chart here. So becoming a cybersecurity hero, it's a very strategic path. This is some pictures here in the UK. Very good place to hiking. Very interesting place of civilizations, like the Romans were here. Greeks came, the Vikings, whatever. So we can do a bit of an interesting journey, a path. What we are doing, why we are doing it. So the CompTIA has a bit of a certification landscape. So they have infrastructure. Infrastructure has to do with building the actual framework to support IT. So, software, hardware. So you're looking at A plus, which looks at systems, infrastructure, network plus looks at how systems are connected to one another. Then you have some operating systems technology you have to learn, and you have security plus. So security plus is in there. Then with security plus, as you can learn how to secure systems. We now live in an internet world, so you're here to talk about cloud in the internet world. And then there's also other expansion series after that. So this is where CompTIA has built its foundation. Since then, they have added cybersecurity and data analytics. And there's a whole range of stuff. Even after the Security Plus, you can specialize in being in a SOC environment. It's not that popular in the Caribbean, to be honest, unless you're working for a communications company or a what you call a managed services provider. There's very few of those, to be honest. So usually people tend to do the pen test plus in the Caribbean. Why? Because there's a need for people's systems to be tested, right? And tested from an attacker, a white hacker's perspective. And then there's a more of a security architect. There's a person who knows how to plan. So this is a bit of the curriculum. So you're going to go to some, some of you, to be honest, might just do the security plus and that's it. You don't want to do anything else. And there's nothing wrong with that. So usually it's a little bit of operating systems you have to understand, a little bit of networking you have to understand, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Basically, this is all. This is a more streamlined approach. What Conte recommends. We're doing all. We're not really. We don't have to dive into these three aspects here before Security Plus, but a little bit of these three is consumed in the Security Plus. The ITF, which is IT fundamentals, and also the A plus is the operating system. Network plus looks at how devices communicate on the network. And then you have Security Plus. So the Security Plus certification is a very good pathway to go to a specialism. So you specialize either as a hacker, a ethical hacker, and you specialize either as a defense worker, a person who knows how to build defenses in a security environment. And then there's the architect person, the expert with the X. There's some stuff about cybersecurity job markets is growing every year. I'm not going to go into this in any detail, but to note that, if you're talking about median pay salaries and we're in the Caribbean, yes. So, in North America, usually is around 80,000 US dollars just for Security Plus. And you don't even have to have a university degree. Once you have a Security Plus, um, it's so respected that they start you at that type of money, right? So just give me an idea the market demand for this here. A little bit on some job roles. So you hear things like security administrator, systems administrator, and then you could be a help desk analyst, a security engineer, a security analyst. Um, to be honest, it has evolved from project managers and IT auditors. So what you're learning on is more specialist um, profiles. But to be honest, the same things do count. So you can get roles even if you're into software, if you're a project manager. But I would like to include other roles in this also. But this is the more formal type of job roles that can use this certification. There's a lot of organizations that who have subject matter experts that assist with the curriculum of Security Plus and from audit firms, Microsoft. So a lot of tech companies are involved. Now, we want to explain to you a bit of the program, why it leads to certification. Why is certification very important, right? So certification indeed is very, very effective. Very effective as a predictor for success. So we're going to look at a little bit on what are we getting at. Now they got this is a kind of a survey. This is actually a link that you can go and look at the trends, but it helps us show that certification by HR professionals. The importance of it is to align to a particular job role. It meets regulatory requirements, our compliance needs, and it expands, help to expand the candidate pool from the traditional four-year degree. So you're more certified by the industry rather than just on the merit of your degree. So let's look at some metaphors here in terms of your career. So, you're taking a trip. You need to get to your destination. Now, first, we say you have a path to take, right? So, you have to have the itinerary. So it's important to know what career you want to pursue. You want to, have a travel agent, have some kind of travel service. So hence you got an instructor like myself. You need to know the flight to your destination, um, what flight are you going to take? We on this course we're going to take an online flight. It's not, and it will be face to face in person. I encourage persons to keep the cameras on, unless you can't, because it helps with me not speaking to just blank screens, right? Customs, you have to go through customs to be vetted when you're going to somebody's country, especially. So that's where the job interview are you going to be welcome? Have the passport to get into that country. To get into that job, you have to have certification, right? And then the fun starts. We got a lot of hands-on exercises. You get to the final destination, where you want to go. You have a lot of learning from various peers in the industry. And then there's different ways of learning now as you get your certification. Very contextual and maybe have a game to it. And then sometimes you need a personal guide, a mentor. And I can be your mentor. After this course, many students reach out to me, ask me questions. I try to guide them as much as possible. So the in-demand tech jobs for resilience worldwide, and these are just broad terms. You will hear privacy protection is huge, biggest one, the biggest bubbles. But you see this here, critical infrastructure, this is going to be major, right? Because you got what's critical infrastructure? Things that if something bad happens, how it has a national uh, effect. It could be catastrophic, right? I mean, imagine water not coming because the system went down. Some systems are going digital in that effect. You can't get electricity unless the computer system is going. There's so much critical infrastructure, even like at the airport, air traffic control, critical infrastructure. Very important to understand that. They got risk mitigation. This is a big area that a lot of major companies have to deal with. Practical use of artificial intelligence. That maybe going beyond ChatGPT. ChatGPT is only a market term, folks. We're talking about LLMs, large learning models and language models, and then network connectivity skills. How do we connect networks? Data skills, security, and analytics, ensuring productivity through automation. So, artificial intelligence is one thing, but how do we automate things? We sometimes have to connect to somebody we don't know. How we do that safely? Operation technology. What is that all about? We're gonna dive in a little bit. So, in demand tech job roles for resilience is worldwide, right? So this is just it looked like some type of code or something, but just bear with me. So the question is, you're asking, what kind of sensitive data does each ICMP packet contain? Now, a packet is by how data travels over the internet. Now, right now, as I talk to you on Zoom, there is millions of packets. All right. So the zeros and ones now are in a package. Okay. It's very straightforward, right? Anything that's stored on the hardware of the computer is in zeros and ones. You'll learn a lot more about this in the course. Now, what happens? There's translation going on, and translation goes on at various stages until the final destination arrives. That particular packet. So that packet has some data in it. It may have some data looking like that there, like that there. What is this data, right? This data matches back to information from a system, maybe a username, maybe a password, right? Maybe a property. All of this information can be passed over a particular packet. So we use Linux unknowingly. The internet, everything that goes through the internet goes through a computer that has an operating system called Linux. So we can learn a little bit about that. This is just this type of knowing this in cybersecurity is a big thing on a technical level, but it just shows the simplicity of what we have to, the complexity, but what we have to guard within our infrastructure. Now, cybersecurity skills trifecta, is about visibility, then we go to automation, and we go to communication. And we got some things in here that you have to, so you may not know, but visibility, we're looking for the con man, eyes in the glass, observing what things are. We automating it all the time. We using things like, well, I call it pup, pup dapper. We have to, if you're using automation on a larger level, companies are using things like Kubernetes, Docker, and different automation tools. AI is one of them. So we only hear about AI, but there's so many automated tools out there. And then we have to use communication. We have to know layers, have some type of connection with people out in the workplace, map the business to tech and the tech to business at the same time. And we are trying to do this very quickly in our environments, mapping the business to tech and the tech to the business, risk management, and incident response. So the trifecta and the critical quad, we are getting inside the cave a little further. What are the three environments we have to manage that you learn in this course? You learn a little bit about the cloud. We have to manage what is in the internet, passing through the internet. Cloud is just a cluster or a group of computers that only communicates over the internet. It doesn't communicate by any standards that is from building to building. The internet is where we communicate. And the internet, you learn about how to do that securely and what does that mean. Data centers are a cluster of computers on one geographical space. The internet does not have a geographical physical space, but data center is a cluster of a group of computers designed to serve many different needs. So we got this thing in the Caribbean about digital IDs. We're gonna need, I mean, talking about data centers. And those are data centers also for given AI, for AI. What are these for? These are to serve a purpose, whether it's to provide citizenry database, whether it's to provide sophisticated services. So these are environments that we have to look at. I talk a bit about operational technology, which is the critical information infrastructure, computers that run physical stuff. So there are computers that runs your water, computers that runs your gas. People don't even have to come to your house to measure electricity. There are smart meters now that the company at the headquarters can read all your electricity, and then they send someone as an audit check just to make sure that the meter working. All right. So we have that considerations now. We have different ways of how things are work, which is called protocols, and we have different perspectives, right? And this is where we try to make things realistic. We get further down the cave and it's a little bit clearer. The tech trifecta is cloud, data center, on premise. So people talk about these things differently, and yes, back to the galaxy. Let's move on. Foundational skills for cybersecurity. So you have all you need to know. You have to have curiosity. You have to know about what devices people are using. You have to know that those devices has to communicate to one another on the internet. The internet is the cloud, and then we have to have some essential understanding how to secure all this stuff. How to secure all of this stuff, right? Then you have a little bit of literacy. You have to know some terminology, right? You have to also understand the business process. What about the business process that may need controls to put on it? Then we have to be able to have it some level of interaction. This is usually from the business to the tech, from the tech to the business, right? All right. Yes, current tech conditions look a little bit steep there. Tech criticality, very important to understand. Certain tech is very critical to a business. There's the onslaught of tech, so many stuff happening in terms of technology all at once. We have sophisticated attackers. We have also increased regulation. And we have a lack of process, maturity, and tech toxicity. We'll learn a little bit more about what this tech toxicity is. But what does business leaders need from technologists like us? All meeting here, we all need confidence that we can get the job done. So this course will teach you bring you your competent level that you know what is cybersecurity, you know how to apply the frameworks, and you know how to get the job done. Just need
Andre,
a
before
time
you go
check.
on, hi, Andre,
Yes,
before you go
please.
on, and thank you so much. They have been really active in the chat and in the Q&A. But I think that Daniel's questioned, Aaron, Jamie,
Okay.
Kevin, we are going to come back to your questions in just a moment. But this was a great point to ask Kevin's question, sorry, Daniel's question, simply because of
Hmm.
what you said, just the last thing you said. So if you can put up the previous slide.
Okay, let me do that. Hold on a minute.
While I read this one, confidence in the technology team. So this one about confidence. So Daniel is saying, asking that in your asking you to describe describe a situation where in your work coordinating penetration testing for critical national projects like in Barbados, the Trident ID and the Welcome Stamp, the margin for error is effectively zero, Daniel is stating. A single mistake could expose sensitive citizen data or disrupt a major economic program. Can you walk us through a specific moment in your career where you felt that pressure most intensely? And how do you personally manage the psychological weight of knowing that a single overlooked vulnerability could have multi-million dollar consequences? I thought that was a great point to ask that question.
Yeah, very, very good question. I try to keep calm, because if you as the person that's supposed to be help implement all these controls, give assurance, give that confidence, you better look confident. um, Reality is a very tedious task, and it depends on the expectations. So first, you have to set the precedence that we have to understand as much as possible. So I did work on the Trident idea initially, consulted the government on that. I did work with um, that and some other aspects, very new stuff, and we had to be very careful in terms of even though we get teams and they're expert, we use the best in the business to test systems, etc. So usually sometimes you have to understand design and security. So you do your best to either design it to put in security and design measures, or you do your best to just expose all the vulnerabilities. Nothing, to be honest, is perfect. But you have to have systematic controls in place. You will learn things like compensating controls. You will learn things like even proactive controls, even retroactive. So after things have been implemented, you have to have still some level of controls in place if something goes wrong. You never say that, oh, I have everything is fixed. I'm happy with that fix. Yes, there have been pressure. I try not to think on the weight if something goes wrong. I try to think on how I will respond if something goes. So when I deal with a company, we look at the aspect of how are you going to respond if something. It's not when it's going to happen. It's not if
It's
it's
not
going to
if.
happen, but
Mhm.
when it's going to happen. So that's how it's dealt with in my world. So you try to be realistic, but you set protocol. And usually you do a pen test. There is actually a contract which shows you what possibly can go wrong. And with that contract, if something goes wrong, this is how we are going to communicate it to you.
Mhm.
And we have to agree rules of engagement, what time you're going to do it, what's the window, who we're going to respond to, who's responsible if we can't get to you, who's your business owner. All of that has to be known up front. So we have to have a plan, okay? We
There's a
don't go
crisis
into these
management
things
plan and sorry, Andre. So there's a
ahead.
crisis management plan and protocol ahead. It's not being reactive. That is
No,
part and parcel of the building out
correct. It's very important of that there. So we, even in cybersecurity, you can put all these nice controls in,
and the crisis will
but you
happen.
have to put the response. And every company, I tell everyone, should have an instant response plan. At the least, um, if you don't at the least in terms of your first investment. So these things help kind of mitigate the vulnerabilities and stuff like that. Yes, there has to be programs in place towards that, and you will learn about that furthermore in the course.
Okay. Thanks, Andre.
Any more questions? Are
I
we
mean,
good?
there are a few that I want to bring up when we get closer to the end. Jamoy did put in one
Okay,
about with the new developments in AI. Do you think does this help? Do these advancements help or hurt cybersecurity? With this positive or negative for cybersecurity?
there's both. There's positive and there's negative. Actually, one of the areas that I will put in this course is AI. And we touched a bit on it last year, but but there's a lot more to touch on. So we can look at there's two types of AI. There's AI safety, which looks at safe AI research, basically safe AI use. But also there's AI in cybersecurity,
Hmm.
um, which uses AI to basically mitigate the the role of the first responder. So when risk happens, AI takes over. It tells somebody, hey, we have an issue
Something has happened.
because it may happen 3 o'clock in the morning, you're sleeping. AI intervenes in that there. So I've been involved in selling loads of AI solutions within Barbados across the Caribbean that also operates like that there. So we'll be looking at that there. So there's two sides of the coin. AI safety is very important because it's all about your data and how AI uses your data and how you can protect your anonymity and your data um, with um, proper security controls. So we'll take a look at a few LLMs and also some interesting ways AI can help in terms of the same chat GPTs, the generational AIs, how they can help you in doing some really good cybersecurity research. There is one now that's open, and we're gonna look at that one to do a small exercise in pen testing. So stay tuned if you want to learn more. That's a real interesting one that we will do. It's free of cost. You can even show you the safe way in doing it, how you can do a pen test using an AI product. Now, this is not generational AI. This is actually an AI product that anyone can use. So stay tuned on
Okay,
that.
stay
And,
tuned. Okay, Andre, you go
right.
ahead. I have a few more
Okay, no
questions, but
problem.
we can ask them a little
Right.
later.
So just moving on to the end. So we look a little bit at new cybersecurity in terms of the various programs out there. Um, indeed, there's a bit of a toxic combination only because there's so many things to look at, but we need to have unified visibility, eyes on the glass, right? And there's some X factor skills, that AI and that endpoint. Now with the cloud, the internet, you can see more. You know, you can see more from a higher level, right? You're in the cloud, right? We can see things now in any jurisdiction across the world, any office, any building, because we are looking at it from the cloud. If you're in the network on premise, you can't really see other locations so easily. So the cloud gives us that factor, that combination there. There's some big attacks today. You can learn about advanced persistent threat, what that's all about, ransomware, supply chain, distributed nutter. Most of the attacks fall in these four planes, right? So we're going to learn a little bit more details on that there, what they mean to us. You may hear about the APT threat gangs. You can talk about people from, different countries that sponsors um, um, nation states that sponsors this types of persistence. What is persistence? People want to get into your system and they do not want you to know. And they're in there for 3 years, guaranteed. So you hear about an attack, they're in it. They're in there. That's why some companies just gotta literally burn the servers and get new ones because these guys are literally in there,
Embedded.
right? They're embedded. You can scrap the hard drive, They're somewhere in the memory, that they're somewhere.
Remember
So,
years
so,
ago
so,
in our personal systems, we would format the hard drive and feel good that we're starting over. No more.
yeah, no more,
No
no
more.
more, and no more. Certain hardware components that has storage that these guys take
The
advantage of.
firmware.
Yeah, so we will learn a little bit that because you know we will learn about volatility and what does that mean in cybersecurity with respect to power on, power off. Where does the storage goes when the computer is powered down? Is there storage when the computer is powered on, and where does it go? So there's some interesting stuff. Social engineering
Engineering.
is a major one. This is even more effective than all of these guys.
So, Andre, you just answered Aaron's question. I suspect that that was, I think there were two questions like this. What is the biggest cybersecurity challenge that exists? And I was waiting for this to come up because I suspected, I'm not sure if you would agree, social engineering, despite everything else,
Yes.
social engineering still is the biggest threat in
Yeah,
cybersecurity.
and I have a couple of videos from the Black Hat conferences that will blow your mind away. This is the most effective and the easiest thing,
People are
you know,
people.
people, correct. And most of we're talking about major companies, sport companies, gaming companies, even the technology companies, has all been messed up with social engineering, all of them. People say that, oh, I'm an employee, I forgot my password, and if people reset the password, it's simple as that. They get into the system. So we will go through that in a little bit in depth. And just a little bit that this cybersecurity is a layered approach. From a simple thing of a hard drive, your hard drive got data on it, right? Um, and we will learn how to, basic encryption. You got a good to encrypt that hard drive. Data at rest. It's not going anywhere. It's just there. It's not being sent by email. It's staying here. You put a lock on that, that hard drive is in a computer. You got software. We put on some antivirus on there. That's still not good enough. You're gonna lock down the computer to a table, right? So I know, but don't carry the computer because if you got the computer exposed and you got password and all that, I can still get to the hard drive. I can still do some stuff, especially from forensics perspective. Put it in a building with a door, a locked door, right? Not just you have it in a room, right? With a locked door, and that room, sorry, will be in a building, which is
Secured.
not good enough unless you put a fence around it. So we have already about 6 layers of security. We protected the physical device. I'm sorry, the logical part of the system in a physical state. Then we have the actual physical system we are protecting. Then we're protecting the applications on the system. Then we are protecting the physical environment. So you're gonna learn about how you should create a physical environment. We have a real good simulation. Have to got some cameras, some badges, we can go through all of this. So physical security is a bit important in cybersecurity. So all in all, what cybersecurity is about? Yes, we are protecting digital assets, either computer systems, network devices, or data from the theft, damage, authorized, or cyber threats. Preventive digital assets can be broken down into 3 categories, which is called the CIA. Let me just go strictly to that. So we're learning about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this is how we collect data, we crunch it, and we contextualize it. We do that by asking, is it confidential? Does anyone know about it? Does anyone have it that is not authorized to have it? Has it have integrity? Has it been changed since it was sent or during transmission? And is it available? Can I access my data? So when your bank says, oh, no one can access the website, the bank says, oh, that's not cybersecurity, but it is because I cannot access my bank account because For whatever reason, I can't even log into my bank account. That is a cybersecurity issue. People don't take it so handily, though. And then we change it up. How we correlate data. How we how you get data becomes information. And now it's being aggregated to make sense, to contextualize it. So we're gonna learn a little bit of something called SIEM, security incidents event management. We actually be working with a SIEM. We have one in an environment that we have here. And then we have, I don't know, I'll go into this in much detail, but a little bit about curation. And this is kind of the complex world. As complex as this is what a total cloud embrace. Well, let's just say it's more of a life cycle, which we use cloud to govern and protect systems. And we can learn a lot about these, all of these things we can learn about intrusion detection systems. Some are hosted, so they're still on the system. Some are not hosted, but they're actually with embedded within the network also. So there's network intrusion detection systems, and there are some that are hosted. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We're going to be learning a little bit of Elasticsearch, how we correlate the data, and then, well, Kibana is just a way how it is visualized and is curated. This is the way that if you want to get into SOC engineering, security operations center engineering, this is where you go. And this is the way of looking at, again, packets. We're going to use Wireshark. So you're going to learn how to see that data in real world, right? And I'm going to go forward here. I don't want to complicate things. So changing cybersecurity paradigms, professors, this is one thing I'm going to finish off. Then we're going to look at a little bit of the curriculum very quickly. So we can look at from the defender's dilemma to the attacker's dilemma. So from a defender, cybersecurity from the ground up, right? Attacker, we always testing, you always, going at it. From incident response to incidents. So we can have our incident response, but any incident happens, that security incident, you have to now respond to it. The person like you who are going to defend the environment, we use this thing called signature base, but more now the attacker that's easy dealt with. The attacker really has a problem with more behavioral based, which is more AI based. We will talk a little bit more of that. From perimeter, we worry about the perimeter. We network administrators, people in companies worry about the perimeter. Hence, the firewalls, the NL. But for the attacker, that's not an issue. I'm more worried about identity and zero trust being put around my environment. And then you can have isolated decision making. Your attacker issue is assisted decision. So some people might say, oh man, I don't want to be, there are people who do not like logging in to their system every day. They think that
Or
the system should
changing.
remember their password. Yeah, there are people like that I have met, It's very senior executives, powerful positions. And they prefer not to log in. They prefer to log in once every 3 months. So this is the issue. And they make a decision based on comfort. Great, great. The attacker loves that. Good to go. But the attacker, the limits for those who are contingency plans, who looks at context, who looks to correlate things. So these are the changes and perspectives in cybersecurity. So, two phases of incident response. Here's a little analogy here. You can have a large oil spill or a long-term oil leakage. Which you think is the worst thing to deal with? How does it earn prepare for both types? It can happen today, or I might be losing money every day. I don't know that I'm losing it. So a lot of it, we have to look at maturity, how to respond to processes, etc., etc. Some things can be chronic problems, or some things can be acute. So we're looking at these different challenges moving forward. Just a quick update in terms of a little bit of the actual content. So basically, we have 5 domains. We can look at general security concepts. I'm not going to go through any details. Some things you may have saw before. Security controls is the main area that we look at. So everyone needs to know about controls. Controls. Controls really stem from a security plan. And then you have to determine the technology or what you need to impact these controls. So physical controls could be tangible, such as a gate. That is very simple, a door with a keypad. You have to look at. They got technical controls, which is from software embedded solutions. So passworded systems that have firewalls. Um, not really firewalls, but more authorization type security control systems. So password identity systems, maybe your eye, maybe your fingerprint, maybe your password, etc. We will learn a little bit more about those in detail. And then amateur controls are those controls that stem through policies and procedures from management in the top there. So you will get you'll learn things like what security controls are represented by items listed below. Bring your own device policy is more administrative. So company will give you the policy. Firewalls is more technical. Turnstiles, even the building, physical. Antivirus software, technical. I talk about this thing here, security information event management, technical solution. And cameras are even security guards. That's a physical control. So there are different controls you will learn, and we will learn all about that. We will learn also about how it is to deal with the CIA triad of more practical instances, threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigations, security architecture. So you learn about cloud networks, the why behind the architecture, applying those security principles, right? And then you can also look at security operations, making it measurable. So we don't have operations just to have tools, but how do we integrate it? Right? So you see how important a manager could be if they understand this, especially responsible for the IT, analysis, sandbox, and monitor ties together concepts covered in 3 different domains, right? So it's a very extensive concept, but it ties the things of hardware, software, and also the asset. The asset is the data. Data is where you have to look at classification. What are the conjurers? What it is that a company can not afford to lose in priority, or what it will cost the company if the data is lost, or if they cannot access their data, or if someone who have unauthorized access get to their data. Very important. Domain 4, security operations. We look at more technology here from a security perspective. And domain 5 is the security program management and oversight. So we're looking at GRC, governance, risk, compliance, the management aspect, due diligence. What is due care? Privacy, right to be forgotten. How users are part of the security process. Very important. This is key. This is key to managing your technology securely. Everyone should know this part. Okay, so the basic stuff, you have to do the exam at the end. The exam is there to help you. It's worldwide. It's available. It's worth $400. You're getting it for free. In this course is 90 questions, 90 minutes, and you have to get an A, basically 7%. This certification is not a 50% pass, right? Any real certification in IT is always 75% up, but no worries. You it's
Andre, we
like
have something to
83%.
live up to here because our pass rate in this has been exceptional from the time we started this program.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, we try our best to bring people, and we are not going to live at the standard of having no persons from the Cable School of Business who are certified in Security Plus, so that's very important. So you will hear other careers, other certifications out there. I do have this one,
I,
Systems
so I have two
Security
questions
Certified.
here.
Okay.
I have two questions here.
Hmm.
Where does CCNA fall? Jamil had asked that some while back.
Right. So CCNA will fall in the infrastructure
Mhm.
for networking. It is a Cisco course. It is very specific to one
Platform.
technology, Cisco,
Mhm.
right? Now you learn how to configure. I did that. I did that already. You know how to configure a Cisco network device, firewalls, switches, and routers. That's what you learn, right? So it is, but that is all you learn. There's no a little bit on security, but this course covers everything you need to know about security. It touches everything, and it is in accordance with all the big guys. You know, CC, SP, Certified Ethical Hacker, GIAT. These are big certifications. And IS Certified Cybersecurity, you see, is right there, entry level also. But early career. So that's what we let you do the entry level, and then you are ready to now get the job. You have the skills. Not only that, friends, you have real labs. You're working with real servers, real computers, all simulations. You don't have to get no fancy computer. You need internet. You cannot use a tablet. You need to use minimum maybe Chrome OS because you need to have a good browser. Cannot use a tablet for this course, right? But you need internet. You just need internet access, right? You cannot use your phone. No people try to use no because you have to do labs. You need a keyboard. You can learn Linux. Okay, CCNA for the Cisco lovers, we have Cisco. We introduced Cisco. I introduced Cisco Lab last year. We're gonna have Cisco Lab this year. Why? Because it's easier to build environments in that Cisco Lab. So you're gonna actually be learning Linux in a virtual Cisco environment. So watch out. So
I have a
you
couple
get a
more
taste of everything.
right? So I have a couple of questions more about certification. We are offering the CompTIA, but is the ISC2 free if persons wanted to go on to do that one? That was
Yeah,
Aaron.
so the ISC2 certified in cybersecurity certification is free, right? And I will show you how to do it for free. So as I say, you will have the opportunity to go through the entire syllabus within the first 4 to 6 weeks of the CC, which builds you up to get into the security plus, right? So you will basically be able to do the certification after 6 weeks. I tell people, please do the certification. Please do it. Because it doesn't take anything from you. It is a real certification. I mean, IS2 is the biggest. So certifying cybersecurity is free of charge once you do it through me.
Another reason
Once we
I
do
want
it
to.
at this.
Camp has a question. Camp, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Does it have an expiration date, the certification? Do you need to
Yeah,
recertify?
so good question. Certifications in general in IT, it says security, and security has expiration dates only because they want you to keep learning. Now, to be honest, they don't expire if you do your continuous learning. So if you go to a webinar, 10 webinars a year. I mean, how hard is that, right? I mean, if you continue to learn, I say 10 webinars, but it all depends. If you, if you continue learning, going to a webinar, go to an event, you can join the Barbados chapter or the Information Security um, um, Association, and you can join the chapter, System Security Association, and just by attending, you can also get continuing credit. So it's easy to get to continue. So you will never have to do an exam again unless you do the con. And if you don't do the continuing credits, at least you have proof that you passed the certification. But to maintain it, you need to do continuing credits, webinars and stuff like that, etc.
Okay. Jada may have completed the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certificate. So, your take on that versus what we're offering here.
Right. So the Google one is very good because at least you cover some tech stuff. Now we are dealing with a whole professional, right? So the Security Plus would be an also a good addition to your prowess when you are to what you have learned before um, in respect to the Google certification. So Google is very specific in terms of that security certification. So Security Plus, if you look at the curriculum, you go for yourself. You can even tell ChatGPT what the differences between security. But what you're not going to get is a well tailored course from the from Cybersecurity School of Business because I'm bringing real professionals. You're not going to get that doing Google. But also give you real world things. So we can use meteor attack framework. You didn't learn that in Google. Thing we learning seams. You didn't learn that in Google. We're doing a little Python, a little Linux. We're doing some Cisco labs. You're not gonna do that in Python.
In
In
Google.
Google, right? So we are just. I'm trying to make the course. It's not just yes, you get the Security Plus certification, but you are getting real world experience. These are like tools that are used in the industry. Meter attack framework is something that a lot of people do not teach. Um, Critical vulnerability SSSV events and how to know how to scores work. A lot of people don't teach that, but I'm gonna give you the industry secrets. What researchers use, what people use on the jobs, so that when you can put all these things on your CV. I learned CVSS, I learned meter attack, and people's like, oh, it's not just security plus. You state the tools that you
All,
learn.
all the value
We
adds.
learn so these are things that people want to see on your resume. And that's what get you the job. It's not just, oh, I did security plus and I have a master. It's the tools. What do you do? What do you achieve? Those are what is going to get you. So I just say it will complement what you have learned from the Google. But the Google is a good foundation. Great that you do the Google. Why not do some more? You get two more certifications through here and be a lot wiser in terms of your career path.
All right, so a couple more questions because we're going to wrap up shortly. For the Deborah, congratulations and happy birthday. She got this Security Plus certification for her birthday and wanted to know if there
Wow.
was another voucher for this program. That is the voucher that is tied to this program. So we won't be pivoting. Unfortunately, we won't be able to pivot to another voucher, but I'm sure there might be discussions happening about how you can advance further once you come into the course and deal with Coach Andre in the confines of the course. Andre, you want to add anything, or I pretty much covered it?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much covered it. I mean, the from the Security Plus, there are other programs that you can do. Now, this program also incorporates more hands-on training. So if you join the course just for the hands-on, just to meet people in the industry as they bring them in. So we would talk about vulnerabilities. They bring someone who's a guru at this, who works in a Fortune 100 company, who can tell you it, but down to you, how to get there. So this is all about coaching and getting you guys to the level that is expected. We can also do some career coaching. How to promote yourself. Brand management is a big thing. Your
Brand
personal
me.
brand, right? Correct. How do you do your personal brand in cybersecurity? It's very important. That way some jobs may be daunting, but what are you looking at? The Caribbean. There's so many remote jobs, so many in cybersecurity. It's how you put your brand, how you promote yourself. That's one thing that you will learn in this course also. So just
Thanks, Andre. You just answered Kevin's question from half hour ago when he wanted to know if you were going to give insights about applying for jobs, particularly in Jamaica. Now you've opened up the whole world. So come into the course, Kevin. You get that kind of interaction and networking and guidance for career development as well. Don't have to limit yourself to Jamaica.
that is very true. Don't limit yourself to the island. The world is a much smaller space, and also, you know, there's even other things that we're gonna look at for the first time. is building your own GitHub, because you can put your projects, what you have learned in class, right? So we're gonna look at a few things just to develop your profile, not just linking, but you gotta now show your technical acumen. So for your technical people, you can do that. Now, if you're not so technical, no worries, right? You don't need to do that. But we giving people the opportunity to build their technical portfolios. And once you can build your pet and show it to the world, then is a game changer, even in terms of people seeing you and knowing what you can achieve. Just show some of the for is we are losing this master suite, learn, labs, and practice. Study guides, live online training is a part of that too. But we have labs, we have practice in terms of practicing what we learned. So we have some special quizzes, and it leads to that. We also have Security Pro, which has a built-in certification, but it's for hands-on experience. So you can get that certification, but it's only for hands-on. So, and it's available. The library will be available for 12 months. So even when the course finish, you have access to the library. So you can finish even the practical exercises that will lead to this third certification, which is more of a online self certification process.
Right. So just two more questions and then we have to wrap up. It's been really engaging and thank you participants for being so engaged. There's a question about two questions really about the ISC2 certification, if it can be actually be taken online or is that an in-person and no longer available online?
Right. So on unfortunately, the ISC2 um, body does not do online exams. You have to go to a center. No, I say unfortunately, but what I've done for some people, um, especially in the island, most islands have an exam center, a computer-based exam center, but some islands may not have the ISC2 exam. But I have gotten permission. I know there was a person out of Grenada, and they can do the CompTIA certification at the exam, but they couldn't do the CC certification. But I got permission from ISC2 because I have a colleague who's a director there, so they were able to speak to someone, and we got things happening. So they could have done the exam. Now, the Security Plus exam can be done at home, right? Now, what is it entails? It entails a dedicated CompTIA has to get an invigilator for you while you do that exam. So you're not just doing the exam, no one's looking at you. They are looking at you. And so that if you move your head too much for a long time, they will end the exam and you will fail, right? They want you to be looking at your screen because the exam is on your screen. It's not on your left or your right. So you have an invigilator. Conte spends that money. However, ISC2 does not spend that money, and they do not trust online exams, which I can understand. There could be a lot of fraud. So they rather invest their money in making the exam available at the
Center.
exam centers. There are quite many across the islands: Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada. They're in community colleges. They're in different places. You can do them in the States if you want to do it. So, but if you do the CC course, you will still get a certificate online for completing that course. If you haven't yet get a chance, if you're in an island and you don't have a CC center, or it's very expensive to go to another island to do it, no worries. At least when you get a chance, you can do it. And you can do that exam anytime, as long as IC2 has it available. ISC2 has it available. Because right now, they have it available for free. Um, so what we do when we register, make sure that everybody have their exam voucher code, because once you got that exam voucher code, you can actually go and do the
Exactly.
exam. All
Okay.
right. So once you
30
got that,
seconds,
you could do it
unfortunately,
anytime.
Andre, to wrap up because we're about to be way over time, and I know persons have dedicated the time to us. So your last words, um, just for the session.
All right. All right. So basically, if you're inquisitive, you just need some curiosity. Remember the terms that I used before. To get into cybersecurity, you need to make sure that you have your curiosity with you. That will carry you a long way to learn how everything works. There's quite a few things, right? But this is here for you. And this is what this program delivers to you. So first, have your curiosity, be able to understand hardware, software, network, and then you'll learn everything else to fill in the gap. And that you can be pivotal in your organization, in your career path. You don't have to be in IT, but you might be managing the IT part. You might be a accountant that have to manage the monies of the IT department. It's important to learn this so that you can implement in policy. And this is important for anyone to learn. If you want to learn more, come and join us, Zero to Hero.
Thank you, Andre. I know there were many questions coming out about the details, and that's what I'm going to show now. So if you stop sharing your screen, I will share mine, and you can
Okay.
actually let me give some information so that you, the participants, can get some of your questions answered. And let's share. Yeah, so let's share there. So the program, the next iteration of this, and this is why we're bringing you the seminar now, the information session now is about to start in just a short 2 to 3 weeks on April 7th. It lasts for 4.5 months. Andre, I think my math is mathing there from April
Yeah.
7th through the 17th. And there were some questions here about the delivery. You went through in detail. So this is just some of what the participants will be able to do, all available on our website. So I'm not going to go through this. This is what you wanted. For those of you, I suspect all of you have your cell phones. Just point your cell phones to the QR code. That takes you directly to the website at the Sadako Keifel School of Business and Management, where you will see some more detail about the goals and learning objectives of the program, as well as what you're seeing here. Now, as Andre said at the beginning, for the first time, we are including the CompTIA exam voucher for everyone, so that the cost of the program is 2,500 US dollars for the 4.5 month program. It is delivered online. It is synchronous online. Do you know already what days you're going to be on, Andre?
Yes, Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays.
Right? I think
Uh,
it's
I think it's usually 5 to 7,
mm-hmm.
5 o'clock p.m. to 7 p.m.
Right, and that's Eastern,
2 hours.
that's Eastern
Yeah,
time, Andre, not UK time.
I think it's AST time, Atlantic Standard Time. Yeah,
Right, so you're on live, but online, so you can access this no matter where you are in the world. And if you
correct.
are in groups of three, so you come together in groups of three, if your company is thinking of ensuring that this capacity, building capacity in this area within the organization, please reach out to our team. And here is the contact details. We actually do answer. So our landline area code is 246. Our landline is 424-7731, or you can speak with one of our program coordinators at our WhatsApp number. Drop us a WhatsApp message, 246-232-3948. You may have other questions about the program, and you can certainly email us at execchsbm@kphil.ue.edu. And the website that you're seeing listed here, you get direct access if you had selected the QR code. That takes you directly in. But if you go on to UE Phil School of Business or Zero to Hero, any of those search terms will get you to the detail as well. I think one of the members of the team might also put the link in the chat so that you can access it directly. Andre, it is Always a pleasure, always exciting. And we always do this because there's just so much interest, so much engagement, and so much opportunity here in this. And it's not going to die down anytime soon. We are moving more and more into the digital space, and therefore, cybersecurity will always be a factor in what we do from our daily lives, for our professional lives, in our social lives as well. And even if it is just retooling, the reason that we call the program from zero to hero is that you don't have to have a computer science background, you don't have to have a coding background, you just have to have, and I love how you put it, the curiosity and the resilience to want to pivot and see what's available, not even just in your physical location. Kevin did ask that, but in the wider world. And cybersecurity is still is maintained. I think that it's almost a decade now of one of the fastest growing areas that companies are
Yeah.
seeking, whether as a permanent employee or as a consultant in this area. And I don't see that dying down anytime soon. So the last words to you, Andre.
Right. I mean, it is laid out for you. Hoping to see you guys in live and in person in a couple of weeks. And indeed, as you look to advance your knowledge around cybersecurity, keeps you safe, keeps your organization safe, and you'll be able to have a greater impact, especially leading towards your digital transformation goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. We know what time it is where you are. Thank you, participants, for spending part of your day, evening, or night with us here at the Satchco Cafer School of Business and Management. And looking forward to you being part of the next cohort. Don't hesitate to reach out to contact us if you have even slight interest or curiosity. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. We are heading to the half point of 2026 already. And those of you who had those career goals and aspirations on January 1st, this is a prime opportunity to start to realize and make that pivot before we hit the middle or as we approach the middle of the year. Thanks, team, for doing a wonderful job supporting us as usual. And again, good evening, good afternoon, good night to all. Bye bye.
Good night, everyone.